checking to make sure that, you're not picking up truck noise, are you? Okay. I mean, you might pick up some in the background as long as it's not like blasting through. Like you're getting all the in-cab noise.
Hi, everybody. I am back. Hello. How is you? The Mad Mama of the Internet is back on YouTube, and the last time I streamed on this crappy platform, Theresa May was still the Prime Minister of the UK, and there was something else I was going to shout out. And the Dems were having hissy fits and needed pacifiers. One of those things has changed.
Dear, don't refer to them like as Democrats and everything. If that's putting a social label on them, we'll call them reality challenged individuals.
Reality challenged individuals. Right. So yeah, if there's any of my UK friends listening out there of the, one of the many six, congratulations on Brexit. I'm sure you guys are laughing maniacally at the Ramoners who, you want to, shove pacifiers in said mouths. They may need bottles. Ronan is with me this morning.
What she's trying to say is, welcome to the land of salty tears.
Right. Oh, the salt is flowing in British tea this morning. The only problem is salt is not the optimum thing you're supposed to stick in your tea. I believe it's cream and sugar. And yes, I have my coffee. Yep, and if you hear any chewing noises, that's the puppy chewing on her toy. We've got that going on this morning. But yeah, for those of you that aren't in the know, I think it was last week or the week before, I turned him up. Hopefully you'll be able to hear the hubby a little bit better.
Oh God, I'm back to being soft and quiet.
No. It's because Discord was turned down.
Oh.
Discord was turned down in my mixer, so we're going to do this.
Wait. We actually have people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm gonna have to readjust Nightbot, who's being a pain in the ass. Nightbot, you're making me spank you, dear. Let's see. We're going to disable.
But honey, I thought I was the only one you were gonna spank.
You hush.
Damn it.
We keep talking about spankings. We're going to have to go offline because that's way too adult for you two. Okay.
It's the only kind of adulting I want to do.
Well, you got to make it home first.
Damn it. Look, all you fucking coders, hurry up with the damn hop through the phone app, all right?
Yeah, right? Seriously. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was on Streamlabs, and all of a sudden something weird happened because it had logged me in, and in the background, I saw the background for my main channel. And I'm like, this can't possibly be what I think it is. So I logged out of Streamlabs and went to log back into Streamlabs, and it allowed me to log in on my main channel. This was after I had discovered that YouTube had reinstated my avatar, which they yoinked for some unknown YouTube-ish type reason. So that happened. And I'm like, okay, if I can link to Streamlabs, let's try Nightbot. And then let's try Restream. And everything worked, and you could knock me over with a feather because I was in absolute shock because YouTube actually fixed something. However, because I haven't been posting on this channel, I can't resubmit to see if they'll remonetize me because I've only got 730 hours watch time, and that's 3,263 hours less than what they require.
Yeah, they got that whole changing of the requirements.
Yeah.
That whole sucks, but
yeah, that whole bullshit. We call it what it is. Yeah. Absolute bullshit. Anon. So, first thing I am going to do this morning is all of us who follow Alex on Twitter, I'm going to give you a couple of updates as to what he found at the doctor's office. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to show Chrome, because for those of you that don't follow him on the twatters, because you know the twatters are twatters. Let me see, Chrome, there we go. He actually had a dizzy spell and numbness, and he wound up going to, I think, emergency services is what they call it over there. They couldn't figure out what was wrong, so he actually went to the doctor today, and come to find out that they did a CT scan, and there's 2 white spots on his brain, which means he's going to have a follow-up MRI, because those 2 anomalies were not able to be diagnosed just from the CT scan. So, he is... white spots. No, 2 white spots.
White spots, if I'm not mistaken, generally show some type of blood or fluid.
Mm-hmm. He goes, honestly, this idea that I could find myself permanently disabled and losing my job is fucking terrifying. But I'm British, stiff upper lip, good sense of humor in the face of adversity. I'll make the best of it. So if you follow him on Twitter, please send him your well wishes. If you do a search for Irate Alex, he should come up, and just go over there and, send some positive energy his way. If you are a Christian, send some prayers his way. He needs our support right now because he's not doing so good. He is a little scared and apprehensive and anxious as to what the final diagnosis may be. So he is waiting on his MRI. To have the MRI done for a final definitive type of thing. So yeah,
it's going to take an MRI and everything. I hope they get it done soon, though, and everything. You're messing with the brain. It doesn't need to wait.
No, it doesn't. Okay, so I don't know why they're doing this from 2018, but whatever. Out of the CDC, because you know me, guys. Sooner or later, we're going to have to hit all the government junk. MC, white spot is high density calcium deposit usually. We'll see what the doctors say. So, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Smoking is higher among people covered by Medicaid. Okay. 9 proven treatments help people quit. In 2018, 15 states covered all 9 treatments. Medicaid programs can do all this other stuff in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, the problem is this. You can tout and you can put out there for everybody to see all these quit smoking programs and stuff, and you can say that you want to quit all you want, but quitting is absolutely improbable until you turn the I want to until you turn the I need to quit into I want to quit. If the want isn't there, you're not going to quit. Basically.
I actually would love to. Now, about that prescription of Valium I'm going to require.
Right? That's the problem with most of us. It's an easy way of,
It's my coping mechanism. I get aggravated. Mm-hmm. I smoke.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I smoke. If I get nervous about something, I smoke. If I don't smoke and I get aggravated or nervous about something, I am generally lash out in a violent outburst.
Right.
And I'm a 225-pound man that's worked all of his life, so I'm still in really good shape.
Yep. All right, here we go. White House. Ivanka Trump previews a bipartisan bill, the WGDP Act, soon to be unveiled. Advancing women's economic empowerment or some bullcrap. So we're going to pause this. We're going to rewind this, and we're going to play this clip. This is out of the White House. Because those of you that know me know that I follow, government entities in a list on my Twitter. So this is what we're going through rather casually. Because this isn't a professional stream. This is a hi, I'm back, let's see what's going on, bitches kind of thing.
Today, bipartisan bill aptly called the WGDP Act is going to be dropped by Senator Shaheen and Senator Lindsey Graham in the Senate. In a couple of days, there'll be a counterpart bill in the House, and it will, for the first time in the history of the U.S. government, codify women's empowerment as a foreign policy priority at the State Department and create the appropriate resources. Today,
so there we are there. So what it is it's going to actually prioritize, women in businesses and stuff overseas for trades and stuff like that, and yada, yada, yada. So, virtue signal. Virtue signal, signal virtue from a government level. And I know that's fucking off key. I don't care. Here we go.
I found it to be a rather moving performance. Yes, my bowels are definitely ready to move.
Thank you. And your bias is showing. Excuse me, your bias is showing. Okay, so out of ice.
Are you trying to tell me and tell our faithful audience that I have a biased opinion?
Yes, when it comes to your wife.
Damn it shows through that much, huh?
Yeah. Hello, Green Badger. We have MC and Shy Wolf active in the chat. So those are the three people we have typing this morning. So hello. How are you? Let's see. So, out of ICE 5 minutes ago, high-profile removals are not only a danger to communities, they also pose a threat to officers who apprehend them and ERO officers who escort them back to their home countries, which may be as close as Mexico or as far as Iraq, Rwanda, and the Czech Republic. So we're going to click on this, and we're going to talk about ICE prioritizing removing criminal aliens, because this is a good thing. This is a very good thing. This is something I can get behind. This is a behind-the-scenes look. Since U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement was established in March 2003, can anybody name the administration? The agency has removed hundreds of thousands of aliens, some of whom fall under the category of high-profile removals. High-profile removals are not only a danger to communities, but they also pose a threat to the officers who apprehend them and ICE's enforcement removal operations, ERO officers, who escort them back to their home countries, which may be, anywhere between Mexico and the Czech Republic. Which criminal aliens fall under a high-profile removal status? Most are fugitive alien removals, meaning that he or she is wanted for a crime in another country, regardless of the severity of the crime. Fugitive alien removals cases generally involve those who've committed serious crimes, including murder, rape, sexual abuse of a minor, drug offenses, alien smuggling, fraud, or theft. Some high-profile removals are national security risks, such as suspected terrorists, those involved in counter-proliferation crimes, or on the terrorist watch list and/or the no-fly list. The arrest and removal of high-profile criminal aliens sends a powerful message to the rest of the world. The United States will not allow its free, open society to be used as a hiding place for another nation's most violent criminals and human rights violators to use as an escape from justice. Since January 2017, a sample of the foreign fugitives ICE has removed include Maria Butina of the Russian Federation, Carlos Raul Garcia Canterero of El Salvador, Elmer Hernandez Natareno of Guatemala, and if Batman ain't in this chat, he is really missing out because there's a lot of Spanish names in this list. Isidro Mendoza Guzman of Mexico, Eric Raudales aka Gerson Reinieri Raudales Acosta of Honduras. Wow, that's a long-ass fucking name. Whew. Kelvin Oberto Perez de los Santos of Dominican Republic, Gregorio Gaitan Estrada of Mexico, Germán Reyes Benítez of El Salvador, Jacinto Maton Brito of Guatemala, Rasmia Joseph O'Day of Jordan, Carlos Humberto Alvarenga Miranda of Salvador, Ramon Castillo Munoz of Costa Rica, Oscar Gomez Cifuentes of Colombia, Wilber Noe Sevilla Rosales of Honduras. This would be a list that would give MC a nightmare. Jesus Guiton Aguilera of Mexico, Inocente Orlando Montano of El Salvador, Alexander Jovel Guillén of El Salvador, Jorge Ocha Martinez of Mexico, Jorge Luis Malaga, gotta put the accent on the right syllable, Estrada of Mexico, Oscar Aníbal Benítez Flores of El Salvador. Boy, all of these have something in common. Can't quite put my finger on it. Can't quite put my finger on that similarity. It's just kind of, just barely, it's barely out of reach. All right, let me see. Where was I? Oscar and Melvin Armando Cortez Moreno, Miguel Zelaya of Honduras, Luis Ordóñez Vega of Guatemala, Jorge Garcia of El Salvador, Lulcim Neziri of Kosovo, Victor Manuel Campos Cruz of El Salvador, Glenda Lisette Campos Rivera of El Salvador, José Rosa Muñoz of El Salvador, Ignacio Leonel Campos Chamagua, that's again, accent on the wrong syllable, my fault, of El Salvador, Luis Nelson Hernandez Orellana, Ángel David Orellano, Andrés Miguel Hernández Orellana of El Salvador, Alvaro Joel Angel of El Salvador, I don't know if that's a misprint or what, Pedro Juan Cruz Cortez of El Salvador, Said El Oisi of Morocco, I know I probably butchered that, Thomas Mann of the Czech Republic, and Marcin, whose last name I'm not going to attempt, of Poland. Sandwiches and drinks are on the table. Yep, here we go. You would butcher every name. So this is a picture of all the people I believe they may have listed. So yeah. Yeah, see? MS-13. Gee, you know. But, you know, they're so biased against Trump that whenever he talks about MS-13, they automatically think that he's, you know, poo-pooing all of the Mexicans and people that come from Central America. Because they not like him. And when you not like somebody, no matter what they do, it's not right. Now you have BAM Body and Mind classroom resources for teachers. I guess to teach the kids to be respectful little shits, which should start at home, but doesn't always work out that way. Georgette Mosbacher, I keep trying because I know I am butchering that. The U.S. and Poland see technological development as a trade priority in discussions with the ministers. U.S. Commerce underscored the U.S. commitment to strengthening trade cooperation between our two countries. So that's what they're working on in Warsaw. Okay, let me see here. Wake up and join the party. We will be streaming hero dogs and training on our puppy cam. Yep, they're already doing that today. So there's a puppy cam going on the NIH. But they were just looking for a better life, right? Just looking for a better life. Exactly. Don't forget to like and share the stream out. That way we can get more people in the chat. And, you know, my tip link for Streamlabs and all that stuff is down below. In case, you know, you guys want to throw a few shekels my way. I am, you know, trying to keep up with the chat. So it's over here. If you see me looking over here every once in a while, which is to my left, which may be probably still to my left on the camera, I'm not sure. It's because this is where my laptop is, and that's how I'm keeping track of the chat. Let's see. National Park Foundation. Happy Galentine's Day? What the fuck is this? Oh, a day for ladies celebrating. Like we don't celebrate ladies enough. It's just get your fucking vibrators and go to the bedrooms already. God damn it. I'm up to here with all the fucking empowerment virtue signaling. Senator Dianne Feinstein. I'm proud to co-sponsor a resolution in support of the Equal Rights Amendment. It's long past time that men and women are recognized as equal under the law. They've always been regarded as equal under the law, Feinstein. Which is why we should amend the Constitution and enshrine legal and equal legal protections. We have equal legal protections, Feinstein. Get your head out your ass. Morgan Ortegas, the U.S. condemns the sentencing of all these names that I can't pronounce, and 3 others for up to 26 years in prison for demanding political change. We call the immediate release of political prisoners in Iran because, they're going through their own shit. Everyone is looking for a better life. Like a murderer would want a better place that was... Exactly. All right, so this seems to be a thread, so we're going to start with the beginning of the thread. IDF, 29 minutes ago, the IDF just launched a new multi-year plan, Momentum. Who names these things? People need, they need these naming committees, and they need people that name things better. That's all I need to say. Here's what you need to know. We will establish an Iran command in the IDF. We will carry out a digital transformation. We will upgrade our ground forces. The Chief of the General Staff, Lieutenant General Aviv Kohavi. The plan will enhance lethality in the IDF in scope and in accuracy. The challenges around us do not allow us to wait. Therefore, despite the complexity, the multi-year plan is underway. So, there you go. And we continue scrolling. Federal Trade Commission. Oh, yeah, here we go. Endorsement guidelines. Because, we still have people that can't say, hey, this is an ad. Because, unscrupulous business practices and shit. USDA Food Safety and Inspection Service. Young children with developing immune systems cannot fight off infections as well as most adults can. They also produce less stomach acid that kills harmful bacteria, making it easier for them to get sick. Stay away from these high-risk foods to prevent illness. Basically, raw and undercooked, raw juices and milks, and, raw or undercooked seafood or shellfish. There you go. For kids under 5. Common sense shit that we should know. Here we go. Representative Andy Levin. Let me guess. You're a Democrat. Yep, he's a Democrat. Today, I voted for full recognition of gender equality. There's no better way to say once and for all that a person should not be judged by their gender or sex than to enshrine it in the document that codifies the principles Americans hold most dear. Hashtag ERA now. Translation. We don't give a shit that there's already laws on the books against discriminating against sexual orientation and sex and color and race and bullshit. We like being redundant, so we're wasting money on this bullshit again. Representative Sylvia Garcia. Let me get to member of Congress. You're not telling me whether you're a Democrat or not. So, I was a law student when I was a Texas delegate to the International Women's Year Conference of 1977 in Houston. Fast forward to the hashtag ERA resolution debate and passage on the House floor today. Different floor, but same debate. Oh, yeah, there you go. There's the D. All right, so, here, Dems retweeted, because, Dems wouldn't retweet anything Republicans had to say. Need to develop an immune system, time for a Wuhan vaccine. Oh, no, thank you, I'm good. Cicilline press office. Oh, this is from the office, because he didn't want to say it himself, apparently. Last month, the state of Virginia approved the Equal Rights Amendment, making it the 38th and final state needed for ratification as a constitutional amendment. Today, Congress took decisive action towards enshrining the Equal Rights Amendment in the Constitution. Senator Patty Murray. There should be no deadline on equality. The Senate should join the House to remove the deadline for states to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment, and we must keep up the fight to ensure women, men, and all have equal protection under the law. So these people... Right. Exactly. Catherine Clark. Girls just want to be equal. Yes, we do. And today we voted. Okay, today you voted. Amiri Berra just voted to remove the arbitrary deadline to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. The absence of the ERA has meant that women can be paid. No, it doesn't. What the always winds up with this fucking pay gap bullshit. It's not a pay gap, it's an earnings gap. If you don't work as much as a man does, you don't earn as much as the man does. It has nothing to fucking do with what is between your fucking legs. If you have the same experience if you have the same fucking degrees, if you have the same pieces of paper under your belt, if you undervalue yourself when you bid, you're going to get paid less. But if you get to the job and it pays the same as a man for the same qualifications that I already fucking mentioned, and you earn less, it's because you're working less than the man, and it has nothing fucking to do with the fact that you are a walking twat with breasts.
Pretty much. But why in the hell did they go through this whole thing to pass something that already exists under the law?
Because the Democrats have become A, redundant, B, regressive-minded, and C, so flexible they can give each other free colonoscopies just by sticking their heads far enough up their ass to check for polyps in their colon.
Well, everybody has it. The Equal Opportunity Act and everything covers everything. They think they just made. This is something that said we've done this and everything, even though that the law already exists. That you're not permitted to hire, employ, or pay me any less and everything, regardless of my race, color, creed, sexual orientation, anything. Yeah, exactly. Already exists under the Equal Opportunity Act.
Shy Wolf covers ears while nodding. Sorry, I ranted. And it's because I'm sitting about 3 feet away from my microphone, so it's a really good microphone. Green Badger. So these people is in favor of the draft for women. Cool. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the family courts also. Yep, that's going to be interesting. MC, don't you like them ignoring the multiple states who rescinded the approval? Yes, they tend to glance over those like they don't even exist. That's another part of their MO. Welcome, Mitch. I am in my news Discord if you want to pop into the TMB chat and share in the live that I'm sharing in the thing if you want to help commentate and watch stuff in real time.
Share in the live and the thing with the thing. Honey, you need more coffee.
I'm working on it. All right, because we're going through, this. So yeah, this is what's going on in the House this morning, and this is why I cover this stuff in the government dump. And I may do these on Tuesdays and Thursdays again, because these on Tuesdays and Thursdays are the 2 days that Blind Press isn't streaming. So Congresswoman Lori Trahan, attorneys general, you gotta love that, from around the country are calling on Congress to pass the ERA, including the MA Attorney General. I am proud to say that today the House passed the ERA resolution, one step closer towards equality in this country. # we have equality. God damn it. These people. I swear to God.
They're looking for bragging rights and gotcha points.
Yeah, that's the only thing that
they're fishing for the gotchas. And everything. Well, you didn't, support the Equal Pay Act.
Yeah.
We already have it.
We do.
If you violate it under law and everything, you can be fined and imprisoned for it.
Yep. And Shy Wolf has a good point. Anything that would actually give equality doesn't bring in money and power. Because equality just gives an equality of opportunity. It doesn't give an equality of outcome.
Nope.
And this is what these people keep overlooking, and this is what they keep bitching about. And it's just,
I mean, you can pass as many of these things. What happens with it? Shy Wolf might even agree with me.
Yeah.
The applicants are now going to be screened so carefully and everything that even fewer people are going to qualify for the position.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's a command. Oh, come on. Because I know the cloud bot's on. Oh, okay, don't shut yourself off, you dumbass. Shut itself off. Alright, here we go. And I know that's on here. Apparently not. Nope, it's on there, so it should have done something. There it goes. All right, so yeah, so we've got that, and then Representative Barbara Lee, vote for the ERA is a long overdue vote for equality. I'm proud to support Representative Spires' bill and House Democrats' historic vote so our Constitution better achieves the eternal process. In other words, we're being redundant and wasting money. That's all this is. In my opinion, this is just a massive waste of money. Yep. All this stuff. So now it goes to Mitch McConnell. So do your job and hold a vote on this vital legislation. Okay, whatever. You know, it's to me, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. It's just, they're going through motions to make it sound or make it feel like it's, you know, that like they're actually doing something, I guess, because this is ridiculous at this point.
They're creating another outrage and everything so they can say, see, Democrats care, Republicans don't care, vote Democrat.
Yeah, right. Okay.
This is all that they're doing.
Yeah, true. 46 minutes ago, UK Parliament, the 11 members of the Youth Select Committee heard evidence in the House of Commons, committee rooms ordinarily used by select committees of MPs. They also received written submissions and survey responses. Their report, what kind of report? You know, this is, okay, something's going on over there. Let's click on this. Use of, stop and search. Okay, so they're doing basically, what is the scale of knife crime? Because, you know, so basically the knife crime has gone up. Surprise, surprise. In the UK. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. And, you know, gun crime has kind of been steady because, you know, the gun requirements there are very, very strict. You can get a firearm in the UK. You just have to jump through a lot of hoops to get one. That's the difference between there and here. But you can't ignore the knife crimes. The knife crimes are, what the fuck? Because holy shit.
That's it. I'm going to the UK now. I'm going to apply and get a license for a firearm, and I'm getting a Walther.
Right. Shy Wolf, it's not wasting money if it helps harden ideology and feel goods. Right, exactly. Exactly. So that's what's going on in the UK. Oh, here we go. If there's a puppy at your house, you're probably getting outdoors often. That's great. Not just because of the exercise. Being outdoors in nature may have health benefits too. Not if it's cold and wet and rainy and yucky and stuff.
And your puppy is a diva.
And my puppy, right, the puppy's a diva. Which our little puppy has turned into a diva. What are you chewing on? What were you chewing on? Don't sit over there and look innocent. What were you chewing on? What were you chewing? Come here. No, you don't want to come in mommy's lap right now? Okay. Just whenever you do, I'm here. What? No, it's not playtime. Ah, you little shit butt. Alright, go get it. Alright. Today at the NATO Defense Ministerial, because NATO is really useful, I had the chance to reaffirm the U.S. commitment to the resolute support mission and the way forward. The United States remains focused on peaceful, stable, and prosperous Afghanistan. Okay. Who the hell is that with a weird-ass hippie hairdo on the left-hand side of this picture? Because that is one hell of a hippie hairdo. It's bad when I pick that person out of the picture. Okay, the government must do more to address and improve the difficult circumstances. Mitch, right, because the indoors are somehow unnatural.
She's made the statement, so now it's time for a little footage of hippie tree love.
Hippie tree love.
Damn it, that's going to be stuck in my head now.
Well, you started it, not me. This guy right here has a hippie haircut. It literally, he has a hippie-looking haircut. When you can pick him out of a crowd because his haircut makes your brain go, what the fuck is that?
Oh, it's one of those. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, look! Schumer's talking out of his ass again, which is nothing new. They're suing to repeal our health care law and end protections for Americans with pre-existing conditions. Believe what they do, not what they say. Okay, so yeah. Oh, and you link NewYorkMagazine.com because they're objective.
Yeah.
Schumer, you idiot. How far up Amy's ass are you now, Uncle? Because you're pretty far up there in my book. Let me see. Over 60%. Okay, now we're getting Senate Republicans retweeted. Over 60% of Americans feel optimistic about the economy and the future. The economy boom under POTUS is real. So we're going to unmute, turn up the volume, and we're going to hit play.
The impeachment clearly failed. And now Speaker Pelosi is looking to undermine the president on the economy. This is a report from Politico. It says this: Nancy Pelosi hosted a special speakers meeting Tuesday with a top Obama economics advisor to explain to Democrats why the economy isn't actually as strong as Trump claims and how they can message that to voters. What do you make of that? They're trying to undermine the boom.
Well, I think it's laughable. I think Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and others need to come out of their bunker in Washington, D.C. and go listen to Americans. In Arizona, we've got single moms that now have gotten a raise. We've got the lowest unemployment we've seen for Hispanics and veterans and disabled. People are coming off the sidelines and back into the workforce. Parents are happy because their 30-year-old kid finally moved out of the house and got a job. The optimism is so strong. Over 60% of Americans feel optimistic about the economy and the future. So once again, the liberal Democrats and their allies are out of touch with what's going on in America. And it's laughable that they're trying to message something different.
I've got to...
Yeah, there you go. And the only reason they're doing this, and I've said it time and time again, is pronounced slurred Speaker Pelosi, right, Mitch? I've said this time and time again, in Discords, on Twitter, and other places, and other live streams. The only reason they're trying to undermine the president is because his name is Donald J. Trump. If it was Hillary, if it was anybody but Trump, well, if it was a Democrat in the office, they wouldn't be doing this shit. But because it's Trump and he beat Hillary, the man can come up with a cure for cancer tomorrow, and they would try and find a way to undermine his ass. Because he is not who they wanted in office.
Well, yeah, I mean, they rigged the election so heavily in Hillary's favor and everything that they thought she was a shoo-in. And the populace said, screw you.
Mm-hmm.
I still like to go back and watch the clip of Rachel Maddow as the realization and everything, that her jokes and her laughing and making fun,
and
everything couldn't be had again because she lost.
Yeah.
It was all a big joke until he won. He beat a stacked deck. And they can't stand it.
I know. All right, here we go. Okay, first of all, here we go. Let's play this idiot.
Today, the Senate will vote on a bipartisan war powers resolution offered by Senator Kaine, directing the president to terminate the use of armed forces for hostilities against the Republic of Iran.
Oh, God. Okay. So, basically, stop picking on Iran. Do you guys realize that every deal that we've made with Iran has fallen apart because Iran doesn't hold up agreements?
They haven't held up to the Obama's nuclear agreement.
Right?
At all.
Exactly.
0%, but yet we're supposed to be held to a higher standard. No, you violated the agreement. It's null and void. Screw you.
Now, what administration was it that kind of gave a little more power to the president in terms of non-congressionally approved things like drone strikes and spying and things of that nature?
That was 9/11 under Bush.
Exactly. Exactly. So, they're trying to, it's like, President Trump does not have the authority to enter the United States into another endless war. What do you mean another one? We're still
Yes,
there.
he
We
does.
haven't left. But I fear he may bumble us into one nonetheless. The Senate must vote for Senator Kane's War Powers Resolution and assert Congress's authority over war and peace. So basically, this is another resolution because, you know, he's in office. But we let Obama do whatever the fuck he wanted, but now it's Trump. We can't let Trump do shit.
Islamic Republic of Iran. The
And
Constitution
they can't
is
stop it.
clear.
It's already, the powers are already given. They can't be rescinded.
Yeah.
Has the power to declare war. The
Not
president
without
has no
full
authority.
congressional approval. I'm sorry, you know, Mr. Speaker of the House, you don't have the authority.
Yeah.
The House of Representatives, let's all remember, and everything is the lower house.
Yep. Well, hello, Lord
when it comes to
Cancer.
when it comes to, you know, how governmental powers go, they're at the bottom of the fucking totem pole.
Yep. Oh, we haven't
But they want
forgotten
everybody to
Shy Wolf.
believe that they're in charge.
We haven't forgotten Shy Wolf. We know that Obama, you know, allowed funds in the billions to be sent over to Iran. We know this. You know, let's fund our terrorist enemies.
Authority to enter the United States into another endless conflict in the Middle East.
$150
But I
billion,
fear that
I
the
think,
president's
was the
erratic
price
decision-making,
tag.
his lack of strategy,
Plus,
his
we let-
inability to control his impulses,
let a whole
may
bunch of other
bumble us
stuff-
into a war nonetheless.
Stuff just kind of gets swept under the rug. No.
Yeah. All right. Meanwhile, in Russia, Vladislav Shapsha has been appointed acting governor to the Kaluga region by a presidential executive order. So now we have somebody else in charge of a reason. There's the White Helmets, who like to report things, but I need to verify that first because, you know, like everything else, then things tend to get exaggerated. World Health. Take a sip of your coffee, sweetie. World Health Organization. Hashtag condoms when used. Yahoo. Condoms, when used correctly and consistently, are safe and highly effective in preventing unwanted pregnancy, unless you use lifestyles, which tend to bust. Preventing sexually transmitted infections, including HIV. It's World Condom Day. Really? We have a World Condom Day? Wow.
Seriously?
Yeah, apparently it's World Condom Day. Like, okay, alright.
Sure, why not?
Right, yeah, why not? Because, you know, we got a day for everything else. Oh my God. Let me see. House Republicans retweeted Representative Arrington, who said, "Mediocre for all, rural health care's road trip to ruin. You don't need to be a doctor to understand that Medicare for all would mean access to quality health care for none." And he did an op-ed over here. And it's just, to me, it's they're pushing this. Use of military force and declaration of war are not synonymous. Mitch the Ripper. Exactly, they're not. Again, if you feel caffeinated enough, you know, you can hop in and help commentate. If you can't hop into the broadcast directly, hop into the waiting room and let me know you're there. But yeah, this is really stupid because get ready, here I come. Medicare, especially as you know, it's first of all, countrywide subsidized health care through the government is a bad fucking plan. Hello, ACA. That's the main fucking failure here. But when you're sitting here trying to push now Medicare for all, and you're trying to base its model on the VA? Excuse me. The Veterans Administration medical shit isn't all that great. It doesn't run all that great. The veterans that actually have quality care through the VA are lucky sons of bitches, because there are many who don't. It's not perfect by any fucking means. Hi, Mitch.
Morning.
Let's see. I'm on Twitter. Oh, here we go. Finger. Thank you, Shy Wolf. Finger looking good, KF. New condoms.
I want some chicken.
Now you want some chicken?
To go with my coffee.
Yeah.
I had the sudden urge to run out and buy condoms.
Right. If you want to see what I'm looking at real time, Mitch, I am living what I'm looking at.
Oh, IB.
Yeah, UB.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go back now. Impeachment 2.0 is coming. Yeah, this was back on February 5th after he got acquitted. That's what I think. So we're gonna go back to the
Yeah,
legend.
this, if I may interject, but this is going to be the system update that winds up getting reversed. Again.
Yeah, because this is stupid. Because it's
This Impeachment 2.0 brought to you by Microsoft Windows.
right. Tank. What's that? Tank.
What? Excuse me, Mitch. Are we going on to impeachment, the BlackBerry edition?
Oh, God, yes.
All right, I gotta put my glasses on because we have.
This impeachment is now Bluetooth compatible.
All right. Yep. Here we go. We have justice news. Justice news. Chinese telecommunications.
News.
Right. Justice telecommunications conglomerate Huawei. I know I'm probably butchering that. And subsidiaries. I can't English today, guys. Charged in racketeering conspiracy and conspiracy to steal trade secrets. Charges also reveal Huawei's business in North Korea and assistance to the government of Iran in performing domestic surveillance. Dun, dun, dun. So we're going
Shocked.
to... Imagine our shock.
Shocked and appalled.
Right? Okay, the first two paragraphs are always who was involved with this, with the exception of being the fact that it has basically violated the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, which is, known as RICO. So we're going to skip down to the third paragraph. The 16-count superseding indictment also adds a charge of conspiracy to steal trade secrets stemming from the China-based company's alleged long-running practice of using fraud and deception to misappropriate sophisticated technology from U.S. counterparts. The indicted defendants include Huawei and 4 official and unofficial subsidiaries: Huawei Device Company Limited, Huawei Device USA Incorporated, FutureWay Technologies Incorporated, Skycom Tech Company Limited, as well as Huawei's chief financial officer, Huan Zumeng. Hi, Ghost Dog.
Hi, Ghost Dog.
Okay, this
Oh, hi to everyone in the chat, by the way.
Yeah.
Since I'm awkwardly on a fucking wake.
On a fucking wake. And as is usual, I'm going to take this small moment to sound like a public broadcasting service by going, this new content on Tuesdays and Thursdays is made possible by you, the viewer and supporter of MWM Media. All the links to support this particular channel are in the description below, including a Streamlabs link. But you don't have to Streamlabs in order to get me to read what you do in the chat, because I can keep track of both, whether that's my ADD or, ability to multitask. I have no clue, but I can keep track. But Streamlabs are always welcome.
We should all get together and do a PBS-style marathon to raise funds for ourselves.
Right.
Hey, there we go.
Join us at 7 for Grenade Fishing with Kevin Wilson.
The new superseding indictment also contains the charges from the prior superseding indictment, which was unsealed in January of 2019. As revealed by the government's independent investigation and review of court filings, the new charges in this case relate to the alleged decades-long efforts by Huawei and several of its subsidiaries, please don't list them again, both in the U.S. and the People's Republic of China, to misappropriate intellectual property, including from 6 U.S. technological companies, in an effort to grow and operate Huawei's business. The misappropriated intellectual property included trade secret information and copyrighted works such as source code and user manuals for internet routers, antenna technology, and robot testing technology. Huawei USA, FutureWay agreed to reinvest the proceeds of this alleged racketeering activity in Huawei's worldwide business, including the United States.
Huawei's worldwide business. Oh God, I can't do it.
Right?
All they have, here's how you shut all this shit down. Show just one time that they've gotten hold of something that's used in any type of military hardware.
Yep.
And that's espionage.
Mm-hmm. Industrial espionage.
And then
exact.
Well, no, it's espionage. If it goes in any type of United States contracted military equipment, that's actual espionage. That's throw you in a black hole somewhere nobody ever heard of and you cease to exist.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Espionage is Latin for the end.
The means and method of the alleged misappropriation included entering into confidentiality agreements with the owners of the intellectual property and then violating the terms of the agreements by misappropriating the intellectual property for the defendant's own commercial use, recruiting employees of other companies, and directing them to misappropriate their former employer's intellectual property, and using proxies such as professors working at research institutions to obtain and provide the technology to the defendants.
Okay. In their defense, and I can honestly say this and everything, that goes on in every tech company across the world, including ones based here in America.
As part of the scheme, Huawei allegedly launched a policy instituting a bonus program to reward employees who obtained confidential information from competitors. The policy made clear that employees who provided valuable information were to be financially rewarded. In other words, giving them bounties, basically.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
Like I said, you want to know you want to know one of the biggest payouts in the world? It comes right from Google.
Huawei's efforts to steal trade secrets and other sophisticated U.S. technology were successful. Through the methods of deception described above, the defendants obtained non-public intellectual property relating to internet router source code, cellular antenna technology, and robotics. As a consequence of its campaign to steal this technology and intellectual property, Huawei was able to drastically cut its research and development costs and associated delays, giving the company a significant and unfair competitive advantage. When confronted with evidence of wrongdoing, the defendants allegedly made repeated misstatements to the U.S. officials. In other words, they lied.
Of course they did.
I like how they did that. It just, allegedly made repeated misstatements. Oh, I'm sorry, we misspoke. No, you lied.
They didn't lie. They provided disinformation.
Including FBI agents and representatives from the U.S. House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence regarding their efforts to misappropriate trade secrets.
They accidentally stepped into a bag of statements that were not factually accurate.
Alternative facts. Similarly, the defendants engaged in obstructive conduct to minimize litigation risk and the potential for criminal investigations, including the very investigation that led to this prosecution. Dun, dun, dun.
They weren't lying. They were combating fake news.
Right?
Hey, how's everybody liking this legalese translator and everything? It's new from Hillsdale.
Right? Oh my goodness.
Oh, hold on, I've almost got it.
Okay.
Give me just a second, Tim. Ridgedale brand euphemism translator, because stick your light bulb where the sun don't socket.
Oh my goodness, that's great. Okay. All right, so we have Acting Deputy Secretary Ken Cuccinelli emphasizes the...
I'm sorry, it's an unfortunate name.
It is. Emphasizes the danger of New York's law prohibiting information sharing with DHS.gov.
Speaking of the Ridgedale brand euphemism translator.
Right?
Hey, why don't you blow it out your Cuccinelli, eh?
Here we go. All right, here we go. Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association out of Washington, D.C. to Mr. Chad Wolf, Acting Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security in Maryland. Dear Acting Secretary Wolf, this is hot off the presses. This is why I follow all these government places. We appreciate your strong stance against New York's ill-conceived and probably illegal as fuck so-called Driver's License Access Privacy Act, green light law. As our nation's largest nonpartisan professional association representing federal law enforcement officers, the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association opposed this law from inception and continues to do so. In other words, we cops say that's bullshit. We view this law as creating an obstacle to law enforcement cooperation, which will only further the crime rate increases the state is already experiencing. What's that? You say that New York is lawless? What's that? No. FLEOA counts among its 28,000 members individuals from across all 65 federal enforcement agencies, including the brave women and men working to secure our borders and enforce our immigration laws. Often they count on cooperation from their state, local counterparts as they work to keep America and the American people safe. And I gotta click back over here so I can see the look. There we go. This included after this included after the September 11th, 2001 terrorist acts, when thousands of federal agents and officers were deployed to New York City and the state of New York to work the attack site, recover evidence, and continue to keep the citizens of the state of New York and New York City safe. The response and thousands of others by federal agencies to help support the state of New York during its times of trial were clearly forgotten when the state passed this offensive law that communicates a contempt for the federal government and the federal law enforcement officers working every day to keep New York safe. We appreciate your efforts to challenge the state with enacting this misguided law. It is our hope that together we can advocate for the state of New York to amend this legislation to indicate that national security, public safety, and law enforcement cooperation are a top priority.
What if all those federal agents put in for a transfer to Texas, for example?
Right? I
mean, just transfer out of New York. Boycott New York.
Mitch, have you seen what's going on with flying in and out of New York, say, and California now?
Not really. Is it about the Kung flu?
No, it's about that you are no longer, for the most part, just going to be able to walk up, grab a ticket, and leave. You're going to have to wait till you go through a database.
No.
Yeah.
Not going to happen with me.
Well,
No, I won't tolerate it.
You don't live in New York.
There's that too.
You don't live in New York.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
They don't live in New York and everything. They're not going to support our laws and have the proper security checks before people get on planes. Then they're going to make it harder on you to get on planes.
Quite simply, if anything like that gets put in place where I live, I'll fucking walk to where I have to go.
Oh, that's an angel, Mom. Okay.
I just will not engage with such systems. Such systems are tyranny. I do not consent.
Okay, so
individual liberty, bitches.
That's right. Do you have a driver's license, Mitch?
No.
No?
No, I do have state ID.
You're in the system.
I know that. There's nothing I can do about that. In order to conduct business, I need that stuff.
Yep.
Which is bullshit by itself, and believe me, I will work to change that.
All right.
When I'm given the opportunity. But let's move on.
Yeah.
There's more story here.
Yep, there's more story here. According to more story, because coming off of the caucuses that are happening now, and no, I am not going to play the 4-minute thing because every time I play NPR radio, people fall asleep.
People do what?
Fall asleep because it's boring.
Oh, yes.
Not if Mitch is a radio voice, I don't.
See you later, Ghost Dog.
Waiting for the other shooter.
Rock on, Ghost Dog.
Yeah, well, I remember a long, long time ago in the galaxy far, far away when I tried to incorporate NPR radio into my live stream because it is, in fact, public domain. Because the word escaped me. And somebody in the live chat said, God, this is boring as hell.
It is. So, because of the way they deliver it.
Right?
Oh, look, it's the Iowa caucus block.
Right? Fresh off the presses today at 5 o'clock in the morning, so they milked them cows and then posted this news. Iowa caucus meltdown proved transparency is essential. Election watchers, you don't say transparency is essential.
Caucus block.
As the Democratic primary season rolls on, one big lesson already is sinking in from the party's caucus night meltdown in Iowa. Secrecy isn't a strategy. No shit.
Caucus block.
Caucus block. Did you see what I... No, I have not seen what... It's okay, look. Is it news? Are you tweeting me news, Lord of Cancer? Because if not, I'm not going to look at it.
He's tweeting you his caucus block.
Tweeting me because he's very adamant about these things because he will post in the live chat until I check something and let him know whether or not I'm actually going to, put it on the stream. So, so I'm looking in my secondary screen. Oh, okay, Empress. Oh, okay, yep. Pringles branded condoms, Nike branded condoms, Gillette branded condoms, and Energizer branded condoms. Oh, we're hearing the truck noise, dear.
Hang on. God, I've entered my air tunnel again.
He's got.
I hate it when I fall into my air tunnel.
The problem with his air tunnel is sometimes the Bluetooth goes, "Oh, you're not on a phone call anymore," and cuts it off.
Right.
Okay. So
that should be better.
Yep, much better.
Groovy.
Okay, here we go. As the here we go. State Democratic Chair Troy Price declined to answer questions a month ago about what sorts of tests were conducted on the smartphone app the party was planning to use on caucus night or detailed backup plans should it fail. But he
caucus block.
Right? But he did promise some sort of transparency. They always promise transparency and never fucking deliver. Hi, Obama.
Yeah. Obama block.
Right? What was that famous phrase? You got to pass it to see what's in it? Yeah, because that's transparency.
Yeah,
let's and then you'll know what it does.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let's all go to Congress and pass some gas so they can see what's in it.
Right? Oh no! Wait a minute. Obama's administration was transparent when it came to troop movements in the Middle East. There we go.
Yeah.
There's where the transparency came in at. Okay, so yeah. We'll be able to give a preview to the press of what the app will look like in the days leading up to the caucuses, Price said in mid-January in his first interview about the app with NPR and Iowa Public Radio. That preview never happened. Imagine my shock.
Imagine my caucus block.
And the reporting system then failed in a major way. Yeah, don't say. The state party announced over the weekend that it was still adjusting results for 3% of the state's total precinct and updating its projected national delegate allocations. Translation: we don't want Bernie to win, so we rigged the app.
In Iowa, Democrats work together to step on each other's caucus.
Right. The updated results aren't drastically different from the originals. In other words, Bernie's ahead. But the Associated Press, which many news agencies, including NPR, rely on to make race calls, say the results still may not be fully accurate and that it cannot declare a winner. Of course not, because you're trying to rig it, and once again, you were trying to tell old Bernie to go sit in a corner and put a dunce cap on his head. Now, for those of you who know me, you already know this. For those of you who don't, I'm going to say this on the stream. Being the descendant of Cuban immigrants of the legal persuasion, I don't want anything to do with communism or socialism in any of its fucking forms. But if Bernie is in the lead in a caucus, then that means he earned that lead through votes, and you should stop trying to rig it and make it in somebody else's favor.
That means it's an elderly caucus.
It's a caucus.
Just some old, nasty, wrinkly caucus.
Right. All right, let's see. That's led to questions about the legitimacy of the results and, more broadly, questions about whether caucuses still have a place in the Democratic Party that says it wants to prioritize voting accessibility.
They are. They're trying to put their caucus in interesting places.
Right.
It's not going to work.
Nope. It is safe to say that this is not the caucus that hundreds of thousands of Iowa Democrats deserve, Price said on Monday. No, they deserved one that wasn't rigged. The chaos was the result of a backup plan poorly communicated and executed in addition to a coding error within the app, the party says, not a cyber
Bullshit.
attack. Yeah, bullshit.
Bullshit. It was rigged from the get-go. These are Democrats. Let's not fool ourselves.
Yeah,
In 3 years, the Republicans will be doing the same damn thing.
Yeah.
Mechanical voting.
Yep. But transparent.
Big machine, big handle. Set up for vote. Put in card. Pull giant handle. Punch hole in card.
Right.
Read card. Go, go, go.
Make sure Chad does not hang.
Chad can fuck off. Chad asshole. Me no like Chad. Chad wear funny hat. Think too much of self.
But transparency again has been limited. Price has said the party worked with nationally renowned cybersecurity experts, who were probably diversity hires, to do testing and security checks on this app, but has declined to say which experts or which companies they worked with. In other words, they were diversity hires. They had no clue what the fuck they were doing. Election experts say the past week's opacity right. Elections experts say the past week's opacity creates an environment ripe for misinformation. Like we haven't had that environment for the past 4 years almost. Well, what, 12 years now?
Oh my God! Can we slap the Ridgedale brand euphemism translator on that?
Go right ahead.
Yes, let's do that.
Election experts say they're lying to you. They're trying to rig the election again. They're going to fail again. We're going to have a second term for President Trump. We're all going to laugh, point at the Democrats. Hopefully they'll slither away into a puddle of poo-poo, and we won't have to hear from them for a very long time, at least until they try to co-opt the Libertarian Party, which is the modern hippie party, so it makes sense.
Shy Wolf. They should research Hillary. The problem with researching Hillary is that all of a sudden there's an outbreak of very suspicious suicides.
Yes. There's an outbreak of rear entry cranial bullet wounds that are self-inflicted.
Right?
Yeah.
At a perfect angle.
Okay, here we go. Next one out of the New York Times. So take this with a grain of salt. Everybody, hold up your salt shakers, because here we go. After New Hampshire, what comes next for Elizabeth Warren? Hiawatha, or whatever.
Dances with bullshit.
It dances with bullshit. I love that. It was 24 hours before the biggest contest of her political life. Senator Hiawatha didn't want to talk about it that way. She was making the media rounds ahead of the New Hampshire primary. A translation, she was giving away free shit when she dialed into a progressive Sirius XM radio show, Signal Boost, because her shit ain't boosted enough. A voter asked her a straightforward enough question. Who did she see as her biggest 2020 competitor, and why was she better than them? Miss Warren demurred. And now there's only going to be one winner, said Miss Warren. I'm not turning away from that. But I'm turning away from the idea of seeing each other as if I win, you lose. If you win, I lose. In other words, you lost. The next day, they won. She lost. I love
Translation. Oh God, I had a good fucking name for her and I forgot it. Hey, dances with bullshit. Has no faith in her campaign.
No, she doesn't.
That's the translation. She doesn't believe in her campaign at all.
Basically. How Miss Warren ended
all
up...
winners as long as Orange Man stays bad.
Right, exactly. How Miss Warren ended up as a fourth place finisher in New Hampshire, now at risk of receding from the national political conversation. Her primary night speech was not carried live by any of the major cable networks, is the story of a candidate who spent the past crucial week unbending to the realities of a competitive primary happening around her. In other words, diversity, diversity, diversity. Yes, I am a Native American. Diversity, diversity, diversity.
I remember now. It was Elizabeth Wardrums.
Elizabeth Wardrums, I love it. Lord of Cancer, I was hoping Princess Pocahontas would make it far enough to debate Trump. I wanted to see him rip her to shreds. Jay Willie, hi! No, not Elizabeth Warren. She is Cancer. Yes, she is. She's very much Cancer.
Shit, Maddie, you went high-pitched.
Sorry.
You went like hypersonic. Too bad you weren't in a race. Holy hell.
She evinced little sense of urgency after a third-place showing in Iowa. In other words, she lost again. That was a disappointment, even as it left her a contender. She's still a contender. She resisted calls by allies to confront her opponents and their weaknesses head on, because she is the weakest bitch on the platform. She spoke relatively little at a Turning Point debate on Friday after she had dominated airtime at such gatherings last year. What do you want to say, hun?
I've got it and everything. You know, I'm going to break it down for Miss Warren as simply and as plainly as I can, and I'm going to use the words of a famous American.
Uh-oh.
Second place is the first loser.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were going to quote Morgan Freeman.
Nope, I'm quoting Dale Earnhardt.
Well, you know.
There's a second place is just the first loser.
Yeah.
You're second best.
She's not.
In her case, she's fourth. She's fourth and fifth best.
Fourth or fifth best, yeah. Dances with losers.
Fucking speaks with forked caucus.
Right? When she did speak, be it on stage to voters or reporters, she mostly stuck to her familiar and comfortable script of big structural change. In other words, free shit that isn't free shit for all.
And on that night, tens of voters got the sleep they so desperately needed.
That powered her rise, but has not prevented her subsequent fall.
I'm sorry.
Some people.
I'm sorry.
Some people.
They were woken up.
Right here.
They were woken up by Bernie Sanders shouting at them.
You know, I am very happy that I'm almost over here to park, so I can start grabbing at least my first little bit of stuff to go home with and everything, because Mitch is going to get somebody killed.
Yep.
Oh, well, there is that.
Yeah. So, yeah, once again, if you guys want to contribute, the Streamlabs link is in the description. That I am not telling you that you have to pay to get your shit read. I will read it anyway, but I am not turning down any contributions to the channel. I am.
But donations are always welcome and appreciated. And yeah, you want us to read something? Just put it out there. I can't read it right now because I can't read chat.
Right. Okay. So, and yeah, I'm kind of passively aggressively digging at the people who say that if they want their shit highlighted, then hit the Streamlabs link. I don't do that. I can pay attention to a couple of things at once.
I can't.
Some people around Miss Warren were talking about being at peace with how the campaign had been run. Well, in other words, give up, bitch, you ain't winning. Then hours before the polls closed, her campaign released nearly 2,000-word memo on her path ahead, talking delegate accumulation and detailing her rival's flaws. Ooh. Former Vice President Creepy Joe Biden was at risk of collapsing. Senator, the goofy Uncle Bernie Sanders had a ceiling, and former Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who had won the most delegates in Iowa, was in for a struggle as people in more diverse states headed to the polls.
I think it's pronounced Buddy Fudge.
Buddy Fudge. I just sent you two things on Twitter.
I'm going to be nice.
You're going to be nice? Why be nice? Why? Why be nice?
Because I don't want to see you yeeted. I won't go down the rabbit hole and everything. I'll hop in and burrow that bastard out with a digging machine.
Ooh, okay, I'm looking at them. But since you send them to me in DMs, Shy Wolf or Pet, I am not going to put them on stream because I do not share DMs. But those are some interesting looking DMs, I will say.
I do not share the cookies.
No, I don't share DMs. That's one of the things I refuse to do. Period.
I don't share the pizza.
Yep. As a matter of fact, I think the only time I ever did share DMs is, because of Scooby, but we ain't gonna talk about that damn mouse. The road to the Democratic... Oh, wait a minute. The road to the Democratic nomination is not paved with statewide winner-take-all victories, the memo stated. By the end of the evening, Mr. Sanders had won in New Hampshire with Mr. Buttigieg a close second, and Senator Amy Klobuchar in third.
I believe it's pronounced fudge pucker.
Mr. Biden, fifth here, has staked his campaign on the support of black voters in South Carolina. Yeah, sniff a child in South Carolina, see if you don't get shot, Biden. Where he flew before the race was called on Tuesday. Miss Warren,
I don't think it would matter the race of the voter. They'd shoot him anyway.
Right? Probably.
That's stupid to rely on skin color for a vote.
Right? Miss Warren's campaign cannot say what state it will win next because they can't win a state to save their lives. That's why.
Hey, the Warren campaign cannot say what state it'll win first.
Or at all. My job, she said on Monday, is to persist. I'm going to be a persistent loser. I'm going to show the world that as long as you persist at losing, you can be good at something. Okay.
That's right. He's great at losing.
Right? Persisting and winning, needless to say, are very different things. Somehow, I love the author of this goddamn article.
My God, this bad example brought to you by Pampers Pre-Soiled Diapers.
Right?
God damn it. Oh, shit.
The state...
How many people did you run over that time, Ronan?
Well, that was a family of four and everything, but they were all texting and everything, so I think I can get away with it. God damn it.
Jay Willie, does the writer of this article know that all American states are very diverse? There are no American states with an ethnic majority, and that's extremely diverse. I mean, even if they did have an ethnic majority, they'd still be diverse. You don't have a state that is one of anything. And technically, by now, all through history, since we've intermingled bloodlines, there is no particularly 100% black person in the United States.
No. Again, skin color's a stupid thing to base your campaign around.
Exactly, it is. It is. The state of the Democratic race remains fluid, just like their genders.
Just like the
I knew you were fucking gonna go there. I fucking knew it.
It's fluid, just like that cottony bulge in their adult diaper.
Right. Okay, good.
Bulge.
We're gonna come over here for a minute and come over here to the notifications. Oh God. Okay, we're gonna do that later. That's for rants. Oh God, I just saw something that pissed me off.
Bulge.
No. Not you.
E. Michael Jones. Homosexuals do not have children, they buy them. The buying and selling of human beings is known as slavery. There's also adoption, you jackass!
Moist bulge.
Are you saying all adoptions are slavery purchases?
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what he's saying.
Wow.
He'll say that he's not and everything, but it's the equivalency is spot on.
Here's the thing, man. The buying and selling of people is a racket, regardless of whether it's slavery or adoption.
Yeah.
It's a racket. Uh-huh. It's layers of bureaucracy to increase the influx of revenue. I mean, it's a racket. It's a scam. Yeah. Don't buy into it.
And the other
go out and fuck out your own kids.
Let me see. Yeah, also, too, we have from, Hillary Killington. For 100 years, that LWV has empowered voters and defended democracy, and that work has rarely been more crucial than it is now. Join their day of action tomorrow in your community and become a part of it. Hashtag twats power the vote.
I had a mouthful of coffee when you said Hillary Killington. You dick.
Sorry.
So let me get this straight. Twats power the vote.
Well, actually, it's hashtag women power the vote, but since we know that she's a feminist,
I see. I thought the actual move. It's because if that was going to be the actual hashtag that was used and everything, when I get home here in a little bit, there's a whole lot of people going to be in a whole lot of shit.
Yeah. No, Lord, I meant Hillary Killington. Hillary because you have to pay her to speak, and Killington because of all the mysterious suicides that revolve around her.
Because if you don't pay her to speak, anyway,
you commit suicide.
No, if it was twats,
not always. You could have a car accident. I mean, come on.
Right. Exactly.
It'd be funny if it was hashtag twats power the vote. It'd be like, hello, ladies, put your twats to good use. It would be twat voting. I mean, what would that? Oh my God! Like, place the rosebud with a number 2 pencil.
Right?
No, you'd have to use the graphite from another 2 pencil, and that's the stuff in which you dip the rosebud to put the impression of the rosebud on the ballot, and then the government has your rosebud print. And you could be tracked down.
Right?
And hounded.
Mitch, anybody that would do exactly what you just said and everything, those are the same people that create the, chocolate anuses to...
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Miss Warren has had more delegates than Miss Klobuchar or Creepy Biden. She polls higher among non-white voters because she promised enough free shit than some rivals, and maintains an enthusiastic base of supporters who have their heads up their asses too, because there's nothing like anal examinations and high-profile surrogates. Because
Green Badger Outdoors has a good point.
Wouldn't it be hashtag front holes power the vote? Oh yeah, exactly. Because we have to be politically correct. On Wednesday, television stations in South Carolina began reporting cuts to planned advertisements, a possible sign of cash flow difficulties. Even as the campaign said it was placing it, she done gone broke, y'all. In Maine and Nevada, allies have started to rationalize Tuesday's defeat as something positive, that losing in stunning fashion is better than a marginal loss. Goddamn. Because it will force campaign leadership to make strategic shakeups they have long resisted. Okay, let me all right, here we go. That losing in stunning fashion.
Stunning fashion.
That's the way they phrased it. In stunning fashion is better than a marginal loss. In other words, getting your ass stomped 7 ways to Sunday is better than being a penny short.
You know what? I'm going to agree.
Okay.
I'm going to agree with this individual because more people. Just let's face it. It completely removes the participation trophy from the scenario. Mm-hmm. You don't get a participation trophy. You fucking suck. Go back and improve.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't get a participation trophy, but you do get an Iowa caucus app.
All right, here we go. I have to imitate another Democrat. I don't exactly get the game plan other than to try and outlast a number of people and emerge an acceptable choice to progressives and moderates at the same time, said David Axelrod, former top strategist for President Barack Obama. It's a narrow path they're trying to navigate here, and they're in a race against time, and they're in a race for money, and at some point you have to emerge. That's called coming out of the closet. Plenty of people have done that as of late.
Okay, dear, you know I love you, right?
Yes.
But hearing you talk like that is like trying to jerk off with 30 grit sandpaper.
Thanks for the image. I'm going to do an oil painting of that and stick it in my brain.
Sorry, it's Axelrod. I never really liked his ass.
Oh my God!
Inside Miss Warren's operation, the plan has been to position herself as the unity candidate, the politician best equipped to hold hands with everybody in a circle and sing "Kumbaya."
Oh God!
Best equipped to pull together the party's various factions, especially supporters of Mr. Sanders. That ain't gonna happen. Who, if he's not the nominee, may particularly hard to bring the party to fold. Yeah, because, if Sanders doesn't get the nomination, there's gonna be a lot more pissed off Bernie bros. Because
look, I'm sorry. I will say this and everything. They need to be pissed off out of hell.
They do. Because
I don't agree with his politics. I do not agree with his politics.
Nope.
Not saying that he isn't a decent person as a human being.
Yeah.
I can like somebody as a person, not agree with their stance on certain things.
Yeah.
It's the good guy.
Yeah.
God, I'm a good person at heart. I'm not going to down a person for being a bad person just because, for all I know, he's a great guy and everything. Hang out with, drink coffee, laugh, joke, cut up, pass the time of day. I don't agree with his politics. I don't agree with his politics. So, that's my one thing. That's my thing against him. I don't like his politics.
Yep.
But if the people are voting, if they're exercising their constitutional right, and even Mitch will agree with this, if you're exercising your constitutional right and supporting your candidate and your choice, and then his party, his selected party that he represents, is trying to rig things against him, they're wrong.
Yeah, they are.
You say I'll agree like I'm an extremist.
Do you or do you not agree in everything that the people go by the Constitution and the way it's written that if we choose our candidate and everything, that should be our candidate? If he's the one that gets...
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. That's
absolutely.
What I'm trying
I do agree. I know. I was playing with you.
Lord of Cancer, we're not saying that we need socialism in this country. All we're saying is, if he is the front runner for the Democratic Party and he earns the nomination through his campaigning and his hard work, then give him the fucking nomination and don't do what you did the last time he tried to run and shove him in a fucking corner and put a dust cap on his head. Because it's essentially what they did when he ran against Hillary.
I think they're afraid of Bernie Sanders, but not for the reason everyone thinks they're afraid of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
I think they're afraid of him not because he might steal the nomination and all that kind of, in their eyes, steal the nomination.
Yeah.
I think they're afraid of him because they know that he cannot go up against President Trump in a debate.
Well, I mean,
None of them can, really. I mean, they don't have one that can.
Well,
but they're convinced that some of them can. They're convinced that Joe Biden would be a good idea, for God's sake. That's why he's still out there.
Right. Well,
he should be back in his bed with his nurse giving him his pills.
Yeah, my whole thing is my whole thing is this. If we look at the entire body of candidates that are still in the race for the Democratic side, there's only one person, in my opinion, that has been consistent with their platform, consistent with their message, and consistent with what they want to do if they happen to be elected. He's had a consistent track record the entire time he's been in politics, and that's Bernie. Bernie has never hid the fact that he's a socialist. Bernie has never hid the fact that he has fought for equal rights. Bernie has never hid any of these facts from anybody. He's an outed socialist because he outed himself. He's not trying to hide who or what he is. And
he's proud of it.
And you know, I'm sorry to say this, and some people in the live chat may disagree with me, but coming from the Democratic side, that is fucking refreshing.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah, somebody won't lie and tell you. He's not telling you what you want to hear. Bernie will never tell you what you want to hear. He'll tell you what he thinks. Period.
Yeah.
That's how he's been all the way through politics.
Yeah.
I won't vote for him. Nobody I know would personally would ever vote for him because of his socialist stance.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's probably one of the reasons why here's why I vote for Trump. Do I like him as a human being? No. Do I like him as president? Yeah, he's doing a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Carlos.
I don't have to like him as a human being to like what he's doing. Yeah. What do I like? If he thinks it, he fucking says it unapologetically.
Yes, that's exactly why I like him as a human being.
Green Badger. He's consistently wrong, but he's consistent. I didn't say.
Well, that's the thing about consistency. Consistency is great in politics and having a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
because in either case, you know what to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do. I mean.
Oh, that's just so wrong.
And with Sanders, you've always known because he's never changed what he's been saying. He's never denied who he is. He's never denied what he's fought for. I mean, it's very refreshing to finally see somebody on any political spectrum be completely honest and unapologetic as to who he is. Now, Trump,
right?
Trump did
Bernie
that
Sanders,
to a certain extent until he started changing some of his wording. And it's like, look, either stand behind who and what you are, or constantly make excuses and try and go, oh, look, shiny, this is what I can give you. Don't pay attention to the fact that I'm an utter douchebag. No, Bernie is, I'm an utter douchebag. This is why you should vote for me anyway.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders is basically the last vestige of Soviet Russia.
Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Bernie Sanders makes fucking Putin look like a United States constitutionalist.
Yeah.
He does and everything because Sanders really goes in for. Would you say it's closer to Leninism or Stalinism?
I would honestly, I wouldn't even. I would boil it down to its essence, which is pro-tyranny.
Yep.
Well, you boil it down to its essence and everything, but I think he's a little more Leninist than anything and everything. I'd have to actually research it a little bit more along his things and everything. But I think he's more of a Leninist. I mean, it's a tyrannical regime, no matter which way you slice it. But
yeah,
there's different levels. Leninist and everything was tyrannical in some ways, and in other ways it was, you know what, I can ignore some of that bullshit. Right. Stalinists and everything, you're a bunch of fuckwads and everything, but we can't say anything because we'll be taken out back and shot.
Yep. So here's so here we go, another tweet that was sent to me from Pet. The tag says, help us. Our elected leaders have sent a clear message. The cops are on their own, and now the criminals and anti-police agitators are laughing as our city slides downhill fast. This was
is that from Portland?
No,
Seattle or Canada?
The Police Benevolent Association of the City of New York.
Ah, damn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's it. And I will
let the police do their job.
Right. I will let you guys
I'm with
talk.
Mitch. They should relocate.
I will let you guys talk, and Mitch, if you want, you can read some of the article that's on the screen. But right now, I have got to go pee and get me some water, so I'll be right back.
That's right. Maddie should have worn her adult diaper for this episode. Let me see it. Can I? Oh, no, I can't even see that. It's not coming through my end clearly. It's coming through like it's like half of it's in Farsi.
Well, that's all right. We'll just me and you. We can talk.
Oh yeah,
we can talk about anything.
Yeah, the cops ought to defect, basically.
Yeah.
In that situation.
You don't want us to do our job and everything? Well, your neighbors over here said we can come over there and help them do their job over there and everything, so we'll holler at you.
Yeah. Exactly. Hell, you know what they should do? If the city, state, county of New York and its associated blah, 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 blah won't do right by the police should not only defect to another state, they should do it in the New York City police vehicles. Take them to another state and set them up for a paint job.
That's right.
You know, bring some guns too. Bring some material with you.
We're gonna send those cops out to where people are actually armed, and we'll actually stop and help them if they need help with doing something.
Exactly. If the people of New York are so determined to vote in those who want to watch New York and New York in particular and the United States in general fall to crime and villainy, Well, you can have New York. Go ahead. You can have New York. We're going to let it fall to crime and villainy just so you feel good about yourself. But we're going to pull a John Harper. No, what's his name?
John Carpenter.
Yes. Thank you. We're going to pull a John Carpenter.
Colony.
That's right. We're going to put up a big old fucking wall. I'm not talking like the south of the border kind of shit. I'm talking post
6 feet thick of reinforced concrete and everything with guards, and anybody approaching the wall gets gunned down by a minigun.
I'm talking the kind of wall that would be rebuilt in Berlin only by New York City contractors. Okay, I'm talking, hey, we're building a fucking wall here. You got a problem with that? Fuck off.
Pretty much.
I'm talking, you get some thug walks by, the thug gets shot, the contractor goes, looks at me, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. We're building a fucking wall. Get out of here. Build that kind of a fucking wall around the state of New York.
Yeah.
If they want to watch it, crumble so bad, we'll help.
Mm-hmm.
How's that?
I know just the crew and everything. Vinny, Nicky, and Tony and everything. They have a construction business.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see.
Nicky, Vinny, and Tony.
Yep. Jay Willie said, why do many Democrats who want socialism point to Scandinavia when they speak of how great socialism and why America should be more socialist, even though Scandinavian are more capital? Let me put it to you this way, Willie. I have seen on Twitter them make that claim, and then our friends that live in that part of the world tell them how full of shit they are because they're not socialist countries.
Yeah.
Badger.
You want a wall? We build you a wall. No problem over here.
Yeah. Green Badger, because most Americans aren't going to actually look at how Scandinavian countries work. No, they don't, because they're not purely socialist countries.
I'm too busy looking at the busload of Scandinavian cheerleaders.
Shy Wolf, Maddie drinks water. I thought that was dangerous. Look, I have drank 5 cups of coffee today. If I don't drink the water, I wake up tomorrow morning and the kidneys are going, hey, bitch. Remember yesterday when you didn't drink any water? Yeah. We don't like that.
Hey, you don't want to give me no water, then up your ass.
Right? All right, here we go.
Right, that's where kidneys end up hiding out.
Yep,
that's what we needed. Yeah, they want to wreck the fucking New York. Just, up your ass.
Right.
I think we ought to. This is pissing me. It's not just New York. The same kind of hand tying is going on in California, Oregon, and fucking Washington. Mm-hmm. I'm getting tired of this shit. Okay. Mm-hmm. I almost want to recommend a new federal law enforcement agency whose job it is to go in and back up the local law enforcement agencies. I would call them the United States Rangers.
Yeah. Well, it's like way back when the whole thing happened in one of those, I forgot, because, I'm 46 and sometimes the ADD doesn't allow me to. I think it started with an F. That big riot and everything, and everybody was sitting there blaming all the white cops going against all the black people and all this. I said, I wonder what they would do other than cry racism if they called 911 and the dispatcher said, I see you're in a predominantly black neighborhood. I'm sorry, but we do not have a black officer dispatched to your area at this time. The wait period for an available black officer is at least an hour and a half. Thank you.
Oh, I got it. Ooh, Maddie, you gave me an idea.
What?
When they're arrested as Antifa hoodlums, thugs, creeps, and muggers, okay? Uh-huh. Their address is tracked. In fact, if you're gonna, their address is tracked, and it shows up for the dispatcher.
Yeah.
So when they get the call from some Antifa bastard, you're with Antifa? Goodbye.
Right? Oh, that'd be great. That'd be lovely.
Hey, I got Joyce and Voorhees coming up out of my cellar. Yeah, you're with Antifa? Okay. Click. We'll send someone right over.
Right.
Click.
Take your time. Stop by and get something to eat. It's that Antifa guy. He says there's a mass murderer in his basement. Oh, yeah. On your way there, can you pick up a dozen donuts and 3 coffees? Thanks. So... The article continues. The Warren campaign is readying for a war of attrition. Banking on her high favorability ratings, many small donors, and 1,000-strong staff spread across 30 states, including those that vote on Super Tuesday to survive. This woman is delusional at this point.
They all are. I'm actually kind of mind-boggled. Hey, TC. I'm actually kind of mind-boggled that I mentioned this last night on our show, that we live in this wonderful information age, and you can't trust anything.
Yeah. Well, it's
How
like,
fucked up is that?
You want to know, there was if I go back on my blog, I'll be able to find it. But I forgot what incident it was, and I was digging on a certain something in order to do a blog article on it. And, I listened to your show last night, and you were talking about a certain group of very fastidious people that can find someone with a certain flag in the middle of nowhere. That's about as far as I'm going.
Yes.
So I'm doing this research, and I'm saying that I'm doing this research on Twitter, and the next thing I know, one of said individuals, who is anonymous and shall remain that way for safety purposes, DM'd me with information that backed up everything that I was trying to find in order for my blog post, and they said as long as you take A, B, and black out A, B, and C, which is information that we use on a regular basis, you can use this screen cap in its entirety.
Groovy.
So I took it, I blacked out everything, sent it back to him and said, is this everything I needed to black out in order to use this? They said yes, and I used it. So
I was right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to do that.
The only thing is you cannot call on these very fastidious flag finding individuals to help you when you need the help. These fastidious flag finding individuals do this for the lulz. If it entertains them and they can get a laugh out of it, they will do it. That's their whole purpose.
Yes, for the most part. You can't just, you can't just go up to their storefront and say, hey guys, how would you like to find me a left-handed screwdriver from 1953? It's not going to work.
No.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
But that's why I suggest, a bounty system or rather Arthur suggested that, I believe. Or, some sort of, but, give them some incentive.
Yeah.
Because it's still going to be cheaper than whatever bullshit or bureaucracy the government uses.
Yep.
And like I did mention it last night, when it comes to like the forensic accounting level of stuff,
yeah,
some people will do it for the lulz.
Oh yeah, it's like that was I think it was after Charlottesville or during the thing when I was trying to find something on Charlottesville, because while the whole Charlottesville was taking place, Alex, who was Irate Bear at the time, tagged me on Twitter and said, do you have a timeline yet on this event? And I responded with, I don't have a timeline yet. I'm still amassing information and sources. And he responded with, when you get your sources done in a timeline, may I have it for my stream? And I said, yes. That's when I realized that even though my channel and my blog isn't exactly the biggest things in the world on the internet, that I was actually respected for what I did by certain people. And then when the fastidious flag finding organization sent me that's when I knew I was being respected in more than one different avenue.
Right.
It's one thing to realize that, people are reading your blog. It's another thing when bigger channels and bigger people recognize you and go, okay, when you have A, B, and C, can you send it to me, please? Yes, I can do that for you. It kind of made me smile, and I remember reading those tweets to Ronan, who went, holy shit, he's waiting for your information? I went, yeah. Because, it makes you smile, because everybody's heard me joke when I used to do the morning brew that, I cover the story, and then later on that night, if Philip DeFranco covered the same story I did, I'm like, I accomplished something. I scooped Philly D. Because I'm in the morning, he's in the evening, and I scooped Philly D.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. So, but it's completely different. Go ahead.
You and I have covered so many. You, me, and Mitch.
Yeah.
And everything when we were covering the incident in Vegas.
Yeah.
The Vegas shooter. We were all talking and everything, and everybody asking said, well, what's that note on the thing? Ranging information, probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a shooter. I know, that's what I would do. I would keep a handy thing and everything. quick sets and everything. This is for your ranging information right here. It says, okay, this is what I've got. I'm basically using the same weapon over and over and over again. So, this is where my scope settings need to be.
Yep.
Yep. That when I read the manifesto of, was it the El Paso shooter? I think it was either El Paso or Dayton.
That was the El Paso.
The El Paso shooter, and I read that on a live stream. It's like, this is, even though it made me feel really fucking to read it, I read it because, to me, people needed to know what his thought process was, and what better way to find out how people are thinking that do those atrocities than if they have that manifesto to read the manifesto. Because it gives you a look into their thought pattern.
Yep.
So that's
there's also the outlier. I mean, the manifesto is written by a crazy person.
Yeah.
Us regular folk, whatever. We're not out there writing manifestos. If we were to commit, like if I were to decide to go full serial killer, I wouldn't use the same method over and over.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hunt in the same location because I've watched a bunch of the movies and I've seen a bunch of the true crime things, and I would apply the stuff I would learn there to my serial killer thing. Mm-hmm. Because if I were a serial killer, that's how I would operate. The problem is, the reason we don't get a bunch of those types of serial killers is usually because they do have a thing. The blonde lady that looks like his mom. That kind of shit. Mm-hmm. That kind of shit's real.
Yep.
And those are the guys who are going to get caught because they actually have a lack of control over their target. Not over their target, but over their target designation.
Yep. Okay, so go ahead.
I think I was done.
Okay. So the next one is pretty much because we've been talking about Bernie and his socialism. Some Democrats fear fallout from Sanders atop the ticket. This is a 3-hour-old article out of the Associated Press, Denver to be exact. Senator Bernie Sanders' a robust start in the race for presidential nomination has triggered alarm among congressional Democrats, with many warning that a ticket headed by the self-declared socialist could be devastating to the party's chances of winning the Senate and holding the House in November. You don't say.
Yeah, they got a problem with that anyway, and it's by their own design. So
yeah.
Well, yeah, they leaned into him.
Yeah, they did.
They leaned into all the same stuff that he represents, and now they want to be immune from it. Screw you.
Yep. It said, in anxious huddles around the Capitol, apprehensive Democrats are sharing their worries that Sanders' socialist label and unyielding embrace of controversial proposals like Medicare for All and the Green New Deal will repel voters in the affluent, moderate districts that flipped House control in 2018 and in closely divided states where Republican senators are vulnerable. Well, of course, because most of these people, it says it right here, affluent and moderate districts. When you sit there and you openly say that you're going to go after the rich people in order to elevate the poor people, whether the poor people need said elevation or not, meaning whether they're lazy or trying to actually pick themselves up by their bootstraps, and yes, that's a thing, AOC, you dumbass! Nobody wants.
Mitch, the one day and everything, I'm going to get a picture of Maddie. So we're just going to bring up AOC, and I'm going to get a picture of her with that vein sticking out on her forehead.
This is the roadmap to terminal aneurysm.
Oh, Jesus, fuck, man! I swear to God. Asinine occasional cortex.
I would love to see Maddie meet Ocasio-Cortez, because then that vein on Maddie's head would burst and it would be like a projectile weapon.
No, Mitch, what would happen if they actually
it would knock Cortez
in the same room. if you put her in the same room with her, you and I are going to be online and everything having a GoFundMe for Maddie's bail.
Yeah. Seriously,
of course, to keep it entertaining and everything, I will put the beat down on replay in the background. We'll stand in front of a green screen. sipping coffee.
The best part would be when Maddie knocks Cortez on her ass, thus crushing her brain.
No. I mean...
Oh my God. Okay, the Vermont Independent narrowly won New Hampshire Tuesday. Wait, never mind. On the heels of a strong showing in Iowa, and is widely seen as a front-runner along with former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete. I'm a proud capitalist, said freshman Representative Ben McAdams, a Democrat from Utah. In pointed contrast with Sanders, McAdams, who is supporting former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, oh God, another idiot, and whose Salt Lake City district will be among the toughest for Democrats to defend, having a liberal like Sanders atop his party ticket would probably give me more opportunities to show my independence from the party.
Michael Bumturd.
Okay, I'm going to hop off here, guys, and everything, honey. I will be home here shortly.
Okie dokie.
Groovy.
All right, see you later.
Rock on.
It's just it's another Democrat, but from Salt Lake City, Utah. This is why I don't have very much faith in Utah.
Well, there are other reasons.
There's other reasons, but I mean, this is one of them. Another freshman from a competitive district, Representative Tom Malinowski, another Democrat from New Jersey, said Democrats need a presidential nominee who doesn't scare all those future former Republicans more than Trump scares them. And while acknowledging that Republicans plan to tar all Democrats with the socialist label, there's one candidate for whom that would not be a lie. Hello, hashtag walk away is a thing.
Yeah. There's a reason that people are leaving the Democrat Party in droves. Mm-hmm. That reason is the pro-tyranny position. No matter what coat of paint we try to put on it, that's what it boils down to.
Yep, exactly.
The Democrats have come to represent the kind of tyranny that nearly everyone is unwilling to compromise with.
Yep.
And, then there's the rest of us who won't compromise with any tyranny, regardless of its source.
Exactly. Representative Dina Titus, another Democrat, this one from Nevada, who backs the candidacy of former Vice President Creepy Joe, warned a group of Democratic voters this week in Carson City, Nevada, that with Sanders atop the ticket, you're not going to take back the Senate. There's not any way, because everybody's going to be tarred with the same brush. We will probably lose seats in the House. Okay, look at this. Okay, let's look at this. Just the people running for president on the Democrat side. How many of them are giving away, quote unquote, or promising, quote unquote, free shit?
Exactly.
Okay.
Each and every all of them.
Right. That's not a Democrat. That has never been a classical liberal stance. Okay, and I'm making this distinction because there's a difference between a classic liberal, a regressive leftist, and these people that are calling themselves Democrats, which are, socialists in democratic uniforms, so to speak.
Yep.
Okay, so, you have all this going on, but it's like, well, we don't want to be painted with the same brush. Then tell everybody on the left side who's trying to become president to knock it off with the socialist bullshit.
Yeah. Basically, it's so simple. Mm-hmm. It really is. All you have to do is recognize that the Bill of Rights is the override for the rest of the Constitution, and it is the foundation of the values of this nation. Mm-hmm. All you need to do when legislating is put the legislation on the left and the Bill of Rights on the right. You read what's on the left, you cross-reference what's on the right.
Yeah. And
if you can't find, or if you find too much gray between the two, you don't adopt the legislation. It really is that simple.
Yeah, it is.
That's how the Democrats are going to be able to rebuild their reputation. Because right now, the Democrat reputation is so bad that well, honestly, they've now got two apps for it: the Caucus Block app and the Shit Francisco map.
Yeah.
App.
No shit.
Shit Francisco map app.
Yeah.
App map?
Yeah.
Is it a map app or an app map?
The poop,
Oh.
the poop app.
Yeah.
The
brown scourge.
I'd call it a pap, but that's too much close to the schmear that us women have to go to.
Yeah.
You know.
No doubt.
In private conversations, other Democrats are more succinct. One House Democrat said colleagues from swing districts are scared by the prospects of a Sanders nomination, while another said moderates are increasingly concerned that a Sanders candidacy would devastate their prospects for winning the White House and retaining the House. The lawmakers insisted on anonymity to describe private conversations. And how much you want to bet those are classical liberals?
Oh, no kidding.
How much you want to bet those are classical liberals that don't want to put their name out there because they're afraid they're going to lose their seats?
Yep.
Democrats' jitters have Republicans rubbing their hands in delight, of course. It's every Republican's dream come true. Representative Tom Cole from Oklahoma, a former leader of the House GOP campaign committee, said of a possible Sanders nomination. Republicans face an uphill fight in capturing control of the House, which Democrats lead 232 to 197, with 1 independent and 5 vacancies. The GOP controls the Senate 53 to 47 and is favored to retain its majority. I can see why.
Oh, yeah. And I'm actually kind of worried. And it's not for fun reasons. It's because as much as I dislike the Democrats, I dislike the idea of an exclusively Republican House and Senate and executive, legislative, and judicial branch.
Yeah.
I don't like that idea because that's how tyranny happens. That's how government moves faster. Mm-hmm. And as we all know, tyranny requires legislation to thrive.
Yep.
That worries me. If nothing else, the Democrats do serve as a backstop.
Yep.
I think I would love it if it was 50-50 or shit, better yet, 25-25, 25-25, because I don't like the two-party system. I would like it if it was broken up that way all the time, so nobody could get anything done, and they'd just have to be stuck there scratching each other's asses, giving each other caucus block. And then nothing in government gets done, which means that the American people are left alone.
Yep.
It would be brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at who they're calling the forerunners at the moment. You've got Biden, who, if you look at all the times he was on camera either saying something or behind somebody that was saying something, I'm going to preface this with, I am not a licensed healthcare individual, therefore I cannot diagnose illnesses. The man acts like someone who has some sort of dementia.
Yep.
Okay? Then you have Warren, who will pander to anybody in hopes that she gets a vote.
Yep, and she won't.
Buttigieg and Klobuchar are no better. And then you have Sanders, who right out of the gate, I'm socialist, there's too many rich people in this country, and we need to take the wealth from the rich and redistribute it to the poor. The problem with this is, once you hit the multi-billionaires through taxes in this system will no longer be multi-billionaires, they will be multi-millionaires. Then you're going to go after the multi-millionaires until their millions are gone. And then you're going to go after the hundredaires, in other words, the people that make hundreds of $1,000s a year, until there are no more people in the bracket who make hundreds of $1,000s a year, and then everybody is going to be the same, dirt fucking poor and scrambling for food. Because as Thatcher said, and I keep repeating every time this shit comes up, the problem with socialism is that you run out of somewhat everybody else's money.
Yep. And here's the funny part. Trying to do that in America against all those rich people who can afford all the guns and ammo.
Yeah. Right.
Good luck, Grandpa.
Yeah. Because it's not gonna happen. It's people are like, oh my God, they're reactionary every time there's something about gun control that comes up, and because we're looking at it, and I'm not speaking for everybody. Those in my small little circle are looking at it, and we're going, okay, this legislation said this. I mean, I remember the one live stream we did where we broke down the bill that was literally trying to make semi-automatic weapons of any kind illegal. Merlin and I were on the stream. We were showing all the weapons that were going to be affected by that particular highly unconstitutional bill. You know, so every time something like that comes up, that's when we decide, okay, the people need to know this. Let's get this organized. Let's get this out there. Let's tell the people, you know, what's going on and what's happening, because these are the kind of bills, like, they'll have this bill, you know, banning these semi-automatic weapons over here. But so the masses don't pay attention, they have this shiny little scandal going on over here that everybody pays attention to the scandal and not the bill they're trying to slide through Congress.
Exactly. Hey, Falcon.
You know, it's smoke and mirrors all the time. Hi, Falcon. And it astounds me that a lot of people haven't picked up on this yet. The people that watch my streams have picked up on it. The people that watch Hard Bastards streams and other people's that we, you know, of whom we partake. These people, we all in this particular circle have figured out this pattern that every time they want to try and pass something that they know isn't going to be popular, all of a sudden some shit breaks out and this little oh shiny moment's happening to distract from what they're trying to push.
Exactly. I mean, we've seen the pattern, like you said.
Yeah.
But we also know which predictions we can make and which will come true,
Right.
you know, provided certain things happen. For example, in that scenario with our billionaires who can afford all the guns and ammo fighting back, here's the funny thing about that. The Sanderistas, the Sanderista government will go ahead and take that attack and take that damage, because they will also have the media on their side, and the media will be happy to propagate the bullshit propaganda. That's why propaganda and propagate are the same root word. They will propagate the propaganda that oh, this person was a nut job. He wrote his opinion on the internet, so can't be trusted to be a good human being. Fuck.
Right.
And you know they'll smear the guy, possibly before they raid, but most likely immediately after. Some loony leftists will come up with a manifesto.
Yep.
And they'll just slap that guy's name on it.
Yeah.
That's what they'll do.
Oh yeah, and it's like, you know, it perpetuates, and it's going to continue to perpetuate until everyone opens their eyes and realizes the pattern that's going on. And unfortunately, a lot of people are still in their little echo chambers, and they're afraid of even, you know, entertaining the fact that there is a pattern, because oh my god, patterns equal facts, and facts is like, oh no, my god, words are violence, I'm in it, blah blah blah. And it's like, it's time for you guys to put on your big boy panties, big boy underwear, strap on.
You were right the first time.
Strap on your shit kicking boots and do a little thing that all of us inevitably have to do, and that's called grow up.
Yep.
Okay, facts are facts. They're out there. And the reason that they're facts is because they have been proven to be facts through a certain string of circumstances, depending on what part of the, you know, what part of the genre or where they come from. Facts are facts. Do facts give a shit about your feelings? No, we have said this time and time again. Facts don't give a shit about your feelings. The problem with facts is the fact that people can read, two different people can read the same set of facts and come away with two different conclusions, and that's where we have the miscommunication.
Indeed.
You know,
well, it's also that two people can read the same set of facts and decide to come away with different conclusions. I mean, there's a difference between merely coming away with different conclusions and making a conscious choice too.
Yep.
If you're making a conscious choice, you're probably a liar and a cheat.
Probably. Or you have really piss poor reading comprehension skills and you don't understand what you just read.
Yeah, there's that too.
You know, so let's see.
Shades of gray, man. It's all shades of gray.
It is. And if you try and see this world in black and white, you're going to miss the shades of gray, because nothing is black and white. Nothing.
And hell, in DC, it's shades of bullshit.
Yeah, that's why I personally say that political science is the only degree where BS stands for bullshit, not Bachelor of Science.
Yep. Yeah, you think PBS stands for public broadcasting? Bullshit.
Okay, let me see. Biden supporters are happy to use apprehension about Sanders' impact on the party's strength in Congress as a tool for drumming up support, because they can point at Sanders and go, he's a socialist, but creepy Biden isn't. Vote for him. Representative Amy Barra from California, who's also a Democrat, who's endorsed Biden, said if Sanders were nominated, Democrats from moderate districts might actually have to run away from our nominee to get elected. And he added, oh, I guess it's a dude. Then, God damn it. Am I? Emmy? Forget it. And he added, it's highly unlikely that Bernie Sanders will moderate his views. He's never going to. He hasn't yet. He's not going to moderate his views. He is unapologetically socialist, and he will be unapologetically socialist until he dies.
Yep.
Congressional Democrats have little to gain by openly disparaging the man who could well be their presidential nominee, and they say they're uncertain what they could do that would be effective. Any move to derail his candidacy that could be traced back to them would undoubtedly enrage Sanders and his impassioned supporters and risk the fury that split the party in 2016 when some Sanders backers never supported Hillary Clinton, the Democratic nominee. You love my nickname for her, don't you?
I enjoy it, yes. I admit it.
Because they essentially, the ones that are smart enough to realize what happened back in 2016, realize that he was, figuratively speaking, stuck on a stool in a corner and given a dunce cap. And told to stay there. You know? Underscoring a reluctance to speak critically of Sanders, Representative Cherry Bustos, a Democrat from Illinois, chairwoman of House Democrats' campaign arm, sidestepped questions about how his nomination would affect her candidate's prospects. We have a long way to go before we know who our nominee is, she said. Like, I'm not going to answer that shit.
Right.
Asked how many nervous lawmakers have expressed their worries about Sanders to her, Bustos paused after 4 seconds before answering, we have discussions about the nominee, but you know, it runs the gamut. Like, I'm still not going to answer your question, basically is what that said. Yeah, we're still not going to answer your question. While many Democrats are reluctant to openly express dismay about Sanders, members of the House have spoken with their feet. According to the website 538.com, Sanders has endorsements from only 7 House members, all members of the Progressive Caucus, from safely Democratic districts. Oh, my occasional cortex is probably in there. Biden, in contrast, has backing from 41 House members and has made a point of touting support from 7 lawmakers from swing districts.
Just to be clear, look at the 41 House members have backed Biden, and he's doing this badly.
Yeah.
That should indicate to the Democrats that they're completely and utterly out of touch with the American people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Bloomberg, who hopes to poach Biden's position as the moderate alternative to Sanders, has racked up 11 endorsements from House lawmakers, 5 of whom occupy swing seats. Bloomberg, isn't that the idiot that decided they couldn't have soft drinks that were more than 16 ounces in New York?
I think so, but isn't he? So basically, here's what I'm reading with that last bit.
Okay.
Bloomberg, they say racked up, and as we know, the left is dishonest, so that means Bloomberg paid for 11 endorsements from House lawmakers.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. That's what it means. Progressives argue the fears are overblown. Republicans tried to tie Democrats to socialism and liberal causes like Medicare for All during the 2018 campaign, they note. Yet Democrats won a resounding majority in the House, and they argue that nominating Sanders could change the electorate in ways that help the party. Right. How many Democrats have walked away?
Yeah,
from
what's
the
he, what are they? What's he going to do? Bring back slavery?
Thank you for voting me your president. Now, if y'all don't mind wearing these white robes and these hats,
Again.
right? They don't want somebody that sells out, said Sanders, backer to Miss Tlaib, a member of the squad of young liberal freshmen. Yeah, Rashida Tlaib here. She added, please don't talk about only persuading Trumpers and independents to be open and alternative candidate. How about persuading the Democrats that haven't been engaged? Because they see the bullshit coming from a mile off. That's why.
That's funny. Don't talk about only persuading Trumpers and independents to be open to an alternative candidate. The thing is, Trumpers and independents are open to alternative candidates. Mm-hmm. That's why most of your seats will be replaced this season.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Green Badger. They may be out of touch with the American people, but the people don't matter to them. Yeah, they have reached that status of elite where the only thing that they're out for is themselves, and that's it.
And we have and as you know, Arthur and I have been doing that Reconstitute Us project on our podcast, and we have something to say about that in an upcoming episode.
Okie dokie.
And I think we're gonna have that clip available in either tomorrow or Saturday, maybe. I don't remember. But I'll be posting it on Twitter when it comes out.
Well, if you want, go ahead and type something in the live chat. I'll make you a mod again, and you can post the link to Rhetorical Entertainment's channel.
Oh, okay. Give me now I got to find it. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Because for some reason, I don't do the smart bookmarking.
Oh.
Or maybe I did. No. I almost I forgot to open a new tab. I was about to jump away from the stream.
Okay.
Like a moron.
Okay, this article is 16 hours old by a congressional correspondent by the name of Lisa Muscaro out of the Associated Press. Headline reads, after impeachment, Congress adrift, oversight uncertain. Let me see. Inside the Capitol, it's as if the impeachment of President Donald Trump never happened. 1 week after the historic undertaking shuddered to a close, Congress is feverishly back at work, emboldened, but also arguably diminished by the outcome. Senate Republicans are flexing their new status as Trump's unshakable allies, hitching their election pursuits to his and looking the other way as the president seems to dole out favoritism for friends and payback for critics with apparent impunity. In other words, he's shitposting on Twitter again. Big surprise. They're back to confirming record numbers of judicial nominees, reviewing impeachment politically as a net gain. Now, I'm about to non sequitur the hell out of this because I have called him, since his fucking being voted as President of the United States, as our shit Lord in Chief.
Yep.
Okay? Agree with me or don't, but I believe a lot of these misspellings are deliberate because he knows if he misspells or mistypes something on Twitter, everybody's going to be talking about his ass, and that's more eyes on his Twitter account.
No, yeah. There's no better way to get your message out than pissing off the press.
Mm-hmm.
Or in this case, pissing on them.
Right. We won and they lost, declares Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. House Democrats are frantically reviving their kitchen table agenda of health care and pocketbook priorities, which don't coincide with one another, because if you're going to do the health care for all shit, ain't nobody going to be able to have any money in their pocketbook.
Right. That's still pocketbook priority, though, because their priority is to empty yours.
Yep. I love him or hate him, but I remember Limbaugh saying something that made perfect sense. If instead of taxes and FICA automatically being taken out of your paycheck every payday, you instead had to write a check for said taxes and FICA, you would have revolted before now.
Yep.
It's the fact that they're out before you get your money that makes all the difference, instead of you literally physically have to sit down and write a payment for your taxes and shit every time you get a paycheck.
Exactly.
A direct appeal to voters after spending the past months focused on erecting a firewall against potential wrongdoing by the president. Okay, has he tripped over his own feet? Yes. Has he made some mistakes? Yes. Has said mistakes broken any fucking laws? No. And that was the crux of the impeachment that they couldn't get through their head. There wasn't a single law that they could find, a single statute that they could find that he broke.
Right.
And that's what really fucking tied their underwear in a knot, but they went ahead with the impeachment anyway, and it was an absolute farce. That's why I personally, and I'm admitting it here in the stream to everybody that listens, that's why I hid on my geek account and doing my geeky things for so long, because I got sick and tired of opening my main accounts and seeing nothing but impeachment, and Trump did this and he did this and this and this, when there's no proof, no concrete evidence, no nothing that is actually considered an impeachable offense.
Well, no, even all the witnesses, and witness testimony is notoriously unreliable, but even all the witnesses basically said, oh, I just didn't like what he was doing. Yeah.
Which translates into he's not Hillary Shillington, so, Hillary Killington, well, so, nothing he does is ever going to be good enough.
Well, yeah, basically all the testimony amounted to was #OrangeManBad.
Yeah.
And sorry, the rest of America does not think Orange Man bad.
Yeah. Okay, you gonna lay down? All right. I should be off here in another maybe half hour. Okay. Let's see. What has become clear in the aftermath of the impeachment proceedings is the stark realization that the legislative branch can only carry the country so far as a check on the executive. It's now up to voters to decide. Obviously, that's how checks and balances work.
The voters did decide.
Yeah, that's why he's president. The outcome leaves Congress adrift, its legislative agenda uncertain, its oversight role challenged. Both parties are in flux as the nation's political energy turns toward the presidential primaries ahead of the November election, when voters will also decide control of the House and Senate. Now, the problem with this is, because of the farce they continued with the impeachment, and because now they're trying to figure out how to impeach him on something else that's total bullshit, they've literally cemented him being the president for 2020.
Yep.
And they don't see this.
Sneeze.
In their cognitive dissonance, they don't see this in their haze. Because they should have seen this coming before they continued with the impeachment bullshit, and they didn't. I mean, you can't impeach a president simply because you don't like him.
Nope. I mean, they listed no misdemeanor.
No.
They listed no high crime.
Nope.
They invented, in fact, going back to that Reconstitutus project, we just covered a portion of the, oh God, it's in Article 1. Now I want to keep going. I'm going to go look up this thing.
Okay.
And show you how devoted to the Constitution the Democrats are not.
Okie dokie. Last news article is 53 minutes old, by Yanan Wang. Virus cases surge after China revises way count is tallied. Yes, we're talking about the Wuhan virus. China reported a surge in deaths and infections from the new virus Thursday after changing the way the count is tallied, further clouding an epidemic that has stirred fear as it spread to more than 24 countries. The spike came after 2 days in which the number of cases dropped and brought little clarity for those desperate to understand the trajectory of the outbreak. What we need is some consistency over time to give us an idea of what's actually happening, said Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious disease expert at Vanderbilt University in the United States. Is transmission happening or is it not? And see, this is an inherent problem when you're relying on information from a country that is highly communist and regulates what information is released and how it is released and how it is portrayed or written for the public's edification, so to speak. They choose the wordings. They choose how it wants to sound, and if it doesn't sound right, they won't report it. And a lot of times, what is reported isn't accurate. The answer has proved frustratingly elusive despite the official reports. The death toll in China from the disease known as COVID-19 reached 1,367, up 254 from a day earlier, and the number of confirmed cases jumped to 59,804. That is up by 15,152.
How fucked up is it that we now live in a world where they feel they have to rebrand a sickness?
Right.
How fucked up is that? My God. If they had just I'm gonna get angry.
It's not like it's new, because people who have, I mean, and some people in the chat will probably agree with me. People that have had emphysema for a long time in their life, people who have had bronchitis or still have bronchitis like me and have had it all their life, and people who have had asthma all their life can't say they have chronic asthma, chronic emphysema, or chronic bronchitis. It is now COPD.
Right. Because nothing gets in the way of a diagnosis like changing the name of a thing.
Right. I mean, I remember the first time I was scared out of my fucking wits when I was little, because here I am, 12, suffering from eczema, and I'm having this breakout again, so I'm going to my doctor that I usually go to. That usually tells me that I just have extremely dry skin. And he takes a look and he diagnoses me, and he's looking at my rashes and where they're normally placed, and he looks at me and he goes, "You have eczema." This was after years of him telling me I have extremely dry skin. Now here I am, 12, looking at my doctor going, "Oh my God, is that serious?" And he goes, all that means is you have extremely dry skin. Then why did you rename it?
Yeah. Well, see, this is what I mean. I think this is the first time, or at least it's the first time I can think of. Yeah, I can't think of another time when a disease has been renamed for marketing purposes.
Yeah.
I mean, exclusively. There was no other good reason to start calling it something else.
Nope.
I mean, hell, none of us really called it the coronavirus in the first place.
No.
We called it the Kung Flu.
Or the Wuhan virus.
Or the Fu Manchu.
Right. Exactly.
We name it ourselves. But here it's a concerted effort. And why?
Well, because, they don't want to be one up. Because let's face it, we're better at naming these things than they are.
This is true. I'm gonna refill my coffee real quick.
Okay. It says Dr. Michael Ryan, the World Health Organization emergencies chief, said the dramatic increase was due to a revised way of counting cases and cautioned it did not represent a sudden surge in new infections. This increase you've all seen in the last 24 hours is largely down to how cases are being diagnosed and reported. That's key, diagnosed and reported. Noting that the jump in infections refers to patients that go back days and weeks, including back to the beginning of the outbreak. In other words, numbers that China has decided to release now to make it look worse than, it's supposed to be. I prefer Kung Flu. Sweet and sour chicken. I love it. A spokesman for China's Health Commission, Mai Feng, said the change was aimed at identifying suspected cases in which the patient has pneumonia so they can be treated quicker and reduce the likelihood of more serious illness or death. It was also seen as a reflection of a chaotic crush of people seeking treatment and the struggle to keep up with a backlog of untested samples.
I'm sorry, I'm just something funny about the phrase untested sample.
Right. Clearly,
sounds like I'm sorry, but it sounds like someone who hasn't had sex.
Right. Let's see. Clearly in Wuhan, the healthy system. This is edit people edit. The healthy system is under extreme pressure, and so the first priority has to be the patient, said Mark Woolhouse, a professor of infectious disease epidemiology at the University of Edinburgh. In further clues to the desperate attempt to contain the virus and public criticism of the government's efforts, China replaced 2 more high-level officials ruling the Communist Party chief in Hubei and the party secretariat in Wuhan. Those followed the sacking earlier in the week of 2 leaders of the Provincial Health Commission and reports from the state media of a slew of others expelled from the party for missteps related to the epidemic. So one thing you always got to count on a Communist Party is they fire people quick.
I'll tell you something else. Pretty soon they're going to start the new Department of No Clue.
Right?
I wouldn't be surprised.
But I mean, it's just, okay, the numbers jump. There's only one reason that obviously they said untested samples, and they're saying that there's a new way that they're diagnosing, and that they had to get people with cases of pneumonia out of the way. And the thing that we have to always keep into consideration is this information that we're getting from China is, and this is going to sound obvious and stupid, but I have a point, is from China, meaning it has been approved by the Chinese government for release. So we still don't know if these numbers are accurate or not.
Let's be fair. Even if it was our own government, we couldn't be sure because they're liars too. Mm-hmm. You can't trust the government with this kind of stuff.
No.
Because they have a vested interest in being dishonest.
Yep. They do. They do.
Now, of course, under communism, you're not going to have a private agency, a private business, for example, dealing in this stuff because they wouldn't break containment then. Because that would be bad for business.
Exactly.
What's bad for business is good for government.
Mm-hmm.
Because government created tragedy. Now government gets to go in and play, hey, look at us be the heroes fighting the tragedy.
Yep.
Bullshit.
Exactly. Green Badger. And by fire, they mean gulag or firing squad. Yeah. I mean, it's, it's a lot of people are sitting there, well, China says, well, that's nice. China says a lot of things. So does Russia. So does any other country that is inherently communist. The problem with their saying in the actual facts is it has to be approved by the government before it gets released. So how much of it has been watered down? How many of the numbers have been left out? And what are we actually getting as opposed to what is actually the facts?
Yep.
Because, China, none of these... There's one thing that communist countries are consistent about is the fact that they don't want the rest of the world to know how truly bad their shit is. So they're not going to allow information to escape their government and be released to the public that is going to show them in a fatalistic way of looking at them. In other words, they don't want to look like they're catastrophically falling apart. So they're not going to approve things that is going to put them in a horrible light. And that's just the way it is. I
wonder if the Internet Detective Agency can bust China's encryption.
You mean the flag-finding friends? The fastidious fast flag-finding friends of the internet.
Yeah, the Internet Detective Agency.
Exactly.
They're good at it, man.
They are. They are very, very good at it. Okay, on that note, my friends, thank you very much. I will be back here on Thursdays at 11 Central Standard Time in the morning, so I'm going to be doing this on Tuesdays and Thursdays to avoid overlapping with Miss Blind Press, who is now doing her streams on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I will see you back here Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time with more news, more government tweets, and more other stuff in a more relaxed format. So until next time, guys, this has been your Mad Mother of the Internet, and Mitch the Ripper.
And Ronan,
telling you to behave, but if you can't behave, at least be good at it. See you next time.
Fishy.